Hello guys, welcome to Bhavna's Online Academy. So in this video, we are going to learn the chapter number 4 of EIS, that is your e-commerce, m-commerce and emerging technologies. This is the part 1 of the chapter and the remaining parts will be linked in the description box below. We are going to have an entire coverage of ICI study material and I hope you find this video helpful. So now let's begin with the video guys. So chapter number 4. Chapter number 4 is your e-commerce, m-commerce and emerging technologies. Okay. So e-commerce, m-commerce. So this is one of the chapters where you will learn good amount of concepts, especially in the emerging technologies part. There are good concepts, where you can learn a lot of things. So as the chapter goes on, you will learn that. Today we are going to more focus. So e-commerce. So now you all know what e-commerce is, and that's something that you have, as you have grown up, it has grown with you all. Okay, so e-commerce is nothing but example your websites where what happens is buying and selling happens. That is trade, or we can say commerce happens here. There you can buy, sell, you can manage your inventory, you can do your shipping, warehousing, all of these functions. But you do these and all can be done offline also. But when all of these things combines with the technology available, then it becomes your e-commerce. Commerce means trading of goods. Okay, so when it is done electronically, it is going to be known as e-commerce. For example, you can take Amazon. So Amazon, what happens, you buy products there, and the vendors who are there in Amazon, they sell products on Amazon there. So this is a e-commerce spot where the buying and selling is happening. The same way what happens is Amazon, what it does is Amazon has its own warehouses and has its own inventory or storage places, where what it does is it goes to the vendor and tells them, see, you can sell the product directly to me. I will store it in my warehouse, and whenever the customer needs it, I will sell it to them. Rather than you selling it to the customer directly through my website, I can do this way also. Like, you can sell it to me, I will manage it in my warehouse, I'll store it in my warehouse, and once the customer demands, I will give it to them. So this way also it can happen. So this function also Amazon can do. So that is your shipping, warehousing and inventory management. Other examples of e-commerce website are Flipkart, OLX, Myntra, and all of those things. Yes, so this is nothing but, in simple sense, your e-commerce. Okay, so here see, e-commerce is the process of doing your business electronically. So use of technology. So what you do is, to do your trading, to buy or sell goods, to manage your inventory, or for warehouse function, you use technology here. What happens with the use of technology is that it enhances the processing of commercial transaction between a company, its customer and its business partners. So here what happens is, the company, that is Amazon, the customers, who are the customers? We are the customers for Amazon, correct? And the business partners of Amazon means the vendors who are selling on Amazon. For all three of us, that means for this triangle particularly, the company, customers and its business partners, it enhances the efficiency there. It becomes very easy when the technology comes into place. Okay, so here what they are trying to say is, there are different ways by which such e-commerce can happen. One is your B2B, business to business. Next is B2C, business to consumer. So B2C is the example of Amazon. So Amazon is a business and it sells its product to its customers. So Amazon is one example. Next is customers to customer. One example could be OLX. So what happened? One customer is there. If in your house there is an old car, you can go into OLX and you can sell your car then, and another customer will buy it. So here, customer to customer, you are selling it. So OLX. Then you have B2B. What is a B2B example? You can say India Mart. There is a website known as India Mart. What India Mart does is that, suppose you need mask. Okay, now here what happens is, it will not take the order if you have to buy one mask or 10 marks, or 10 marks, or masks, 10 masks or 50 masks. Here what it is going to do is, when you place bulk orders, you have these wholesale shops where business comes and purchases from another business, like thousands of masks, or 500, such huge number in quantity. This India Marts will sell it to other businesses. It will sell, and this business will sell it to its customers, retail customers. Okay, So business to business also transaction can happen, and also customers to business also the transaction can happen. So customers to business transaction example would be that what happens is that now if there is a customer, nowadays you would have heard that what happens is if there is a customer, he can himself set up a price at which at the price at which he wants to take a insurance or he wants to pay the insurance premium. So he will set up a price. This customer will set up a price, and what will happen is different service providers or different insurance providers will approach the customers and give their quotation, and will come there and give the quotation. Whichever the consumer likes, he can choose it. Here the power is in the hands of customers, because here the customer is setting the price at which he wants to give the insurance premium. So this is nothing but consumer to business. This is nothing but consumer to business. Okay, fine. So here now, after that, they have given you an example of how technology has entered our life and how it has changed our lives, that we already know all of it. So you can give this a read. So here they have given you a model of e-commerce. So first what happens, there is a users. This is us. Suppose we want to order a phone. Okay, we wanted to order a phone. So we have placed the order. Are you guys hearing any background noise or my voice clear? Able to hear any background noise?
Yes, ma'am.
These crackers, they just don't stop even after Diwali, I think. Okay, I think now they have probably stopped bursting crackers. Okay, yes, I understand. Even though I'm in a closed environment, the sound is just coming in. Okay, we'll try to adjust. If it is like too much, then you guys can tell me. If it's very much distracting to you, let me know. Okay, yes. So what was I saying? So I was talking about the order placed by the user. So what happens here is that if you order a phone, okay, you want to order the new model of iPhone that has come into the market. So what you go is you open your Amazon and then you pick up the phone that you want and you put it in your shopping cart. Once you put it into the shopping cart, what do? You need to pay for it, correct? It doesn't come for free. So you will give your credit card details, and once it is done, your payment processing will happen and you will get a note that your order has been placed and it will get delivered in so and so date, and these are your tracking details. So email will be sent to the customer as well. To our email IDs also the order placement information will come, as well as to the merchant. That means the person who is going to sell the iPhone or send us the iPhone, to him also the information is going to go. Then what will happen is the what do we say, the iPhone will be sent out to the Amazon, what do we say, the warehouse where it has to be shipped from. Once it has been sent there, the person, the truck or whatever takes up the shipment, and then it ships it to us and we get the iPhone. So this is the model of how the e-commerce works. Okay, yes. So next they have given you differences between the traditional commerce. My stylus is again not working. Just give me a minute, guys. Yes, okay, fine. So here they have given you the difference between is this not working? Yeah. Traditional commerce and e-commerce. That means in olden days how business was run, and now when technology has come into place, how the business is running. Okay, so all of these I'll not tell you, just 4 or 5 I can tell you, and you can remember those 4 or 5. I think that's more than enough. At least if you remember 5 to 6, it's enough. First is transaction processing. If any transaction has to take place, first it used to happen manually. That means if you have to buy vegetables, suppose, you have to go in person, pick up the vegetables and pay for it and come. Whereas now it is electronical. That means now you can go on your big basket or another grocers. Okay, you can go in that and you can just go and pick up your product and put it in your cart and it will get delivered, correct? Next is availability. That means here if you go to vegetable shop, this to this timing only it will be there. Whereas if you do it electronically, any time of the day, any minute of the day, any second of the day, you can place an order, correct? Next is customer interaction. Usually in olden days or traditional commerce, it was face to face. Now everything is screen to face. Even now when we are studying, it is screen to face only. Whereas before pandemic, it was mostly offline classes where the teacher used to come to the class and take classes, right? Next is business scope. So here what happens is, since it is confined to a particular shop is located in a particular area, it will be only able to sell the products to the customers located in that area. So limited to particular area. Whereas if it is an online thing, you can have a worldwide reach. Next is information. Next is information exchange. So here what they tell you is that no uniform platform for traditional commerce. So here what happens is, you don't have basically one platform where everybody can come and access that information. Okay, so here whereas in the case of e-commerce, what happens, you have created a website like Amazon or Flipkart, where all the information is available at one place, right? From the prices to the expiry dates, or to what we can say, the models, to the colors, everything, all the information is there at one single place. So that is one advantage. Next is fraud, where what happens is, when you go and pick up a product in real life, if you go, people usually try to pick up what do we say, very high valued items in real, okay, like in person itself, okay, because here the risk of fraud is very less, because there's a personal interaction between the buyer as well as the seller. Whereas what happens is, you would have heard these cases where they send you this iPhone box, but inside that you get a soap, or inside that you get a stone or anything like that. So here what happens, since there's a lack of physical presence and you cannot touch the product and see while you buy, here there might be a lot of chances of frauds happening. Okay, and then example, unclear legal issues. So for this, if I have to give you an example, I just wish they can stop bursting crackers for some time. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah, fine. I'll continue. If there's a lot of disturbance, you can just let me know. Okay. Unclear legal issues. So what is unclear legal issues is that, okay, unclear legal issues. So here what happens is, suppose this one recently there was this incident which happened. I'm not really sure for which product it happened, though. There was a product which was about 90,000 rupees. Okay, one item, one product or one item of it costed 90,000 rupees. Whereas what happened is that, by mistake, the person who is running the e-commerce admin was there. He by mistake put an offer on it. He shouldn't have put an offer on it, but by mistake he had put a, yes, it was for some washing machine, I think, if I'm not wrong. And the same product was sold at 5,000 rupees, and many people even got that, had even placed a order for it. Now what happens here? Here it becomes a legal issue, because now the company can also not deny the product that they have to give, because the 5,000 rupees the customers have paid, and they are going to fight for it. They are going to tell that that's your issue, that it went wrong. It is not wrong in our part. Now that we have placed order and paid the money, you need to give us order. But then the company can also argue that it was a mistake from our side and we would refund your money. So like this, legal issues can pop up. Okay. Yes. So these were the differences between traditional commerce and e-commerce. Okay, then here you just have an illustration of how a e-commerce transaction would usually work. You all know this. Okay, so you can just go and give this a read. Yes, just a second, guys. One. Yes, okay. So next what we are going to do is, we are going to study the benefits of e-businesses. Now, when you run a business electronically, there are a lot of benefits. There usually are benefits to three people as such, okay? One, if there is Amazon, okay? And then there is a customer who is going to buy from Amazon, and the seller is going to sell it on Amazon. So all these three people are going to have benefits from doing e-business, from doing e-business. Okay, so first we are going to study what the benefits the customer is going to have. So the first benefit the customer is going to have is, it is convenient for us to go on a website and just search whatever we want, order whatever we want, and then pay with whatever means that we have. Example, what happens is, once you go to a shop, you'll not find all the products that you need there. Okay, even if you find all the products that you need there might be a big queue to, just place, get the order, what do we say, get what do we say exactly, get the order to you, correct, because you have to go stand in the line in the queue for taking the bill or for making the bill, correct. Next is in payment terms also, few shops might accept one mode of payment, another might not accept another mode of payment, or few may only accept cash. So all of these in terms of all of searching or ordering or paying, it becomes very convenient when it is a e-business. Next, it is available 24/7 by 365 days, that you all know. Next, you have a variety of options, because now if you have to go to a particular physical store and if you want one kind of an outfit, and they will only have a few models or a few colors in that. But now if you have to go on Myntra or any other website which sells clothes, it will give you thousands and thousands of options in the same same type of outfit that you are searching for. Correct. Next is easy to find reviews, because now if in real, if I'm going to a shop and buying something, okay, if suppose I'm buying a jewelry, okay, and that jewelry is not the it is an imitation jewelry, suppose, okay. So what happens with jewelry is that usually it turns black very soon, okay. The more you wear it, the more black it will turn soon. Now we will not be able to know which vendor is selling high quality jewelry and which vendor is selling low quality jewelry. So if it's on the e-business site, there you directly, if you swipe down, you have all the reviews written there. So you can go read through the reviews and get the product, or get the knowledge on how the product is good or bad from that itself. Next, it is very time saving. It saves your petrol, it saves the time that you have to travel, it saves it's just very convenient. Whenever you think you want to shop, you can shop. You don't need to like particularly make time for it, correct. Next is coupons and deals. So as you all know, when you have this big billion deal, so you have this Diwali festival sale, you have a lot of coupons and deals that you get, which usually in the offline stores, you would have to bargain and get a discount, but here it's just on the page right then and there. Okay. So that's what they have given here. It is convenient, time saving, various options you get, easy to find reviews, coupons and deals, and anytime access. So for this, there is one, what do we say? It's a mnemonic, which is CA vet. So you can remember this as there are two friends who is, one is a CA and the other one is a veterinary. Okay, veterinary doctor, fine. Yes, so CA, so convenience C, coupons and deals C, A is anytime access, then VET. Okay, yes. So this is your CA vet. So first, now we had read the advantages of customers or individuals or users. Okay, next we are going to read the advantages of the seller who sells on such e-businesses. Okay. So here first what happens is that when a seller is going to come and sell on electronic platform, here first he does not need to have an online shop. Okay. The need of having an offline shop or as such have a building to display the products is not there. So there is a lot of cost that gets saved. Example, the rent or the overheads or the electricity bills, all of these get saved. Now you would have heard the concept of, suppose if you take Zomato. Okay, so in Zomato, what happens is that there are many people, who cook in their home space itself. They do not hire a kitchen separately, or they do not rent a kitchen separately, or they do not rent a place separately for cooking and delivering and all of those. They do it at home. It's like a cloud kitchen concept. And then they directly put their products on Zomato, sell there and make a lot of money. So here what happens is your major cost gets reduced here. Next is instant transaction. So if you place an order, you will get an instant notification that an order has been placed and you can start processing it. Here there is no that bargaining, that stuff and all, and it does not take a lot of time. You do not have to one by one show your products. The customer will come on the website, he will himself he or she will himself see whatever products he needs. If it's suiting his price, then he'll place the order. That's it. All the transactions are very instant here. Next is increase in customer base, definitely, because a lot of customers are now able to visit and see your products, whereas before, if it was a traditional commerce, you did not have that space for it. Correct. Next is easier entry into new market. Now suppose even today, if I think that I want to open a food business, okay, and I want to cook and sell, then easily I can go on Zomato and like place my products, whatever I want to sell, and sell it there. Now you can take example of this teaching also. Now today, if I want to earlier, if I had to, take classes for someone, then in such case, I would need to have put up a physical class where the kids would have to come to a place where I've set up for taking classes and come there and, attend it. But now it's just everything is virtual and easier also. Now, if I have to sell classes also, I'll make an online course, I'll put it on a website and they'll just get the payment details there. They'll have to pay and just purchase the classes. So it's that easy now. Next is efficiency is improved. So here, sorry. Yes, so here how is efficiency is improved is one, the chances of any errors that could occur is very less because everything is real time and very transparent. Then the time for processing will also be less because you are getting instant notifications of the process, and since all the functions in a business are nowadays automated, if the sales department is getting the notification, the production department will also get the notification at the same time. So they can instantly start producing things that are now on demand. Next is inventory holding cost is very less because as and when the order is being placed, you can go and procure and produce it. Okay, so you don't need to keep everything on stock. Next is obsolescence is also very less because you're not holding so much of inventory. So these are the advantages to seller. So you have increased the customer base. Then you have recurring payments are made easy. Recurring payments are made easy means here what you can do is once you feed in the credit card details, if you are comfortable with the website having your details, you can just give a save option there. So every time you make a payment, it's easier for you. You need not fill all the details again and again. Then instant transactions will happen. There is a reduction in cost and your efficiency is being improved, and you will have easier access to new markets. Okay. Yes. So here I hope there are a few more. You can just read through this and you will be able to understand. So here the mnemonic for advantages to seller is rise. R recurring, I instant. Here are one more R is there. You can take it. There's one more I. So R square, I square, C, E. Okay. So this is one mnemonic which you can write down. And finally, what happens here is now we have studied about the customer and we have studied about the seller point of view. Now then there is advantages to the government also. So what is advantages to government is that since every single thing is becoming digital now, and digitally it can be tracked very easily. So kindly mute yourselves. Okay. Okay. What was I saying? Benefits to government. Yes. So since everything is in digital mode now, you already know that it is an instrument to fight corruption. Ma'am, is it enough to write 5 points to each benefits? Yes, it's more than enough. I don't think in exam they'll ask you more than this. Okay. Yes. So you can just read. Okay, these are very general points. You can just, even if you have read only 5, and in the exam they ask you more, or it's given for a higher marks, it is asked for higher marks, write your own points. 5 points you have written from the book, that's more than enough. Rest of the points you can make it up on your own and write. Okay. Yes. So next is instrument to fight corruption. Third time I think I'm starting the same point. So I think you would have understood, since everything is digital, everything is transparent, and government will have all the data to themselves. So it is easier to fight corruption. Next is reduction in use of ecologically damaging materials. So this point is kind of controversial because what they say is that if you purchase offline, there will be a use of lot of covers and bags and all of those, and that might be ecologically damaging. But whereas now if you see in terms of Amazon also, the packing material that they use are plastics only. So now I think in the recent times they might have changed it, not very sure. But then this point, I don't know, I think institute should change it, but still you can just keep in mind that there is a reduction in the use of ecologically damaged movement, since so what they have given explanations, the movement of information is there rather than physical objects. So that's the reason they have said. Okay. So these were the advantages or benefits of e-business. There were advantages to 3 people: user, seller, and the government. Okay, I hope you remember this. Next, we are going to read the disadvantages of e-business. Next, what we are going to read is disadvantages of e-business. So what is the disadvantages of having a business online is that first, the business would need anybody to access that website in itself would need an internet connection, correct? So what might happen in rural areas or remote areas, internet connectivity might not be good. If you go to hilly areas, or if you go to areas where there are not, where it is not very much developed, then in such case, internet will be a problem there. Okay, so that might be one disadvantage. Next is high startup cost. Now, what will happen is, even though you have to start a e-business, I'm not very sure if you guys know how much a website how much people charge to make a website, or how much people charge to make a mobile app. Just to make a mobile app nowadays, people are charging around 1 lakh, 1,50,000 also. Okay, so this startup costs are very high. First is you would need internet, so the internet cost will be there. Next is hardware and software you will require, because you will have to set up the modem, then the routers and all of this. Next, you have to set up. Setup means you have to example, if there is a software known as OBS. Okay, what this software is used for is, it is used to take online classes, where the teacher's face and the screen will be showed simultaneously. Now, to set up this software itself, this is a free software. It's a free software, but to set up this software on your computer, if you don't have technical knowledge, you're not able to do. So to set up this itself, people are charging around 50,000 rupees. Okay, so that setup cost will be there. And finally, maintenance cost also. So here, if once in the company, if you see, if the company is changing to E mode, then you have to train your employees accordingly also. Correct. So these costs and all will be there. High setup, high startup cost. Next is legal issues you will face a lot. Example, I've already told you a few examples, that a 90,000 washing machine was sold for 5,000 rupees. Or one more example, what can happen is, there must have been a product, it should have been delivered to person A, but it did not get delivered to him, and rather it got delivered to person B. Now here the person B might tell, no, I will not return this product because it has come to me and this was your mistake, so now I will not return. So like this, any kind of legal issues might come, because everything here is not as proper and clear as the offline shops have it for themselves. Correct. Next is cultural impediments to e-business. Cultural impediments. Impediments means a thing which is stopping us from doing something. Okay, it is something that stops us from doing what we want to do. So here what happens is, still people who are there, users who are there, if you take our grandpas or our old people of people who were born around 1970s or 1960s, I would say rather. So they have this fear that if they put on credit card details over the internet, someone might steal that information and use it to their benefit. So since they were culturally born like that, because in their generation, they have not seen these kinds of e-businesses happening. It is in this 10-20 years that these e-platforms have come to a rise. Correct. So it will be very difficult for them, because culturally they were not grown up like that. So this is cultural impediments to e-business. Even though they want to use e-business, these are cultural what do we say, stoppages that they have, or impediments that they have between them to use this. So that is one disadvantage. Next is security concerns, because the information, we are going to give all the information, right, from our house address to our PIN number to our CV. Okay, so all of this things, since you're going to provide it to the person who is going, where you're going to place the order, security might be a big question, because there are a lot of fake websites also. Correct. Yes. Next is some businesses processes may never lend themselves to e-commerce. So example, for there might be businesses of perishable foods. Now everything has come online. This, I think the ICA should now start changing it, because now they're talking about perishable foods now, whereas now you have this genie, no, what is it called, some mart, I just forgot, on Swiggy or on Zomato, you'll find that people will deliver the apples or the bananas or your fruits or your vegetables in just one day. Today if you place order, next day morning you'll get it also. So perishable foods are also now getting delivered. High cost items as jewelry also, now it is actually getting delivered. If you see Carrot Lane is there, like very costly diamond jewelry, gold jewelry also, people are now have started purchasing it online. Correct. So now this point they are saying that perishable goods or high cost items, these may not come up to e-commerce because of the nature of products that they sell, but now the scenario has kind of changed. So these were the disadvantages of e-business. So the mnemonic for this is, in LIC, the security is high. In LIC, the security is high. So here L stands for legal issue, I stands for internet connection, C stands for cultural impediments, security stands for security concern, high stands for high startup cost. So in LIC, security is high. This is your keyword, or this is your mnemonic for disadvantages. Okay. Yes, fine. So next is e-marketing. Okay. So next concept what we are going to study is e-marketing. So wait, so here what they have given you are the different types of e-commerce platforms, different types how you can use the electronic platform to sell or buy goods, or just in basic perform your trade. So these are the different kinds. Okay, so we'll start studying from here. First is your e-shop. So what does e-shop means? E-shop means is that electronic shop or e-tailers, you can call it. In exam, if they ask you about e-tailers, don't forget the e-tailers is nothing but your e-shop only. Okay, remember these are the tiny things where institute can catch hold of you. Correct? Okay. So what is e-shop basically? E-shop is nothing but now you have a physical store. The same physical store, if you take it to online, now you would have seen for Reliance Trends or Max and Pantaloons. Now you have these stores in offline mode. Now the same thing will be available on e-platforms also, correct? So there, if you go and buy the products and services, that will be known as your e-shop. The same shop is in electronic mode. So it is a virtual storefront that sells products and services online, where the customers can shop at any hour of the day or night without leaving home. Example, Zara or Max or Pantaloons, correct? So next is e-malls. E-malls, like how your real life malls are there, the same way e-malls also are there. Here what will happen is that there is a collection of e-shops usually grouped under a single internet address. So if you take, there is one example. In India, there is no such e-mall, okay? But if you can see, there is one website. If you search, you'll find it, e-mall of America. In that website, if you go and see, in that particular website, you will see different kinds of shops, e-shops, okay, which are grouped under that, and you can go into each store and try to buy it. Like how when you go to a mall offline, the same experience you'll get it online also. Okay. So here there are two types of malls. There are two types of e-malls. One is general e-mall and the other one is specialized e-mall. In general e-mall, what happens is that you will have all kind of items for sale. There is no specialization. Whereas if you see specialized e-mall, they will only sell specialized items. Example, this is not a perfect example now, but if you go into Reliance Digital website, so in that you will find phones of different companies being sold, correct? So this is like a specialization that only electronic goods are being sold there, correct? So this is your e-malls. Next you have e-auctions. So e-auctions means nothing but what happens is there will be people who would want to sell their product in that website or in that particular e-auction platform, and they will put up a price, and other buyers, whoever want to you want to buy that product, they will try to bid for it. There will be competing buyers who will be bidding for that product, and whichever bid they like. If you go to these platforms, I don't know how many of you many must have heard about freelancing. Okay, so here freelancing is nothing but if you are good at some work, you go and put up that work in a website. Okay, now example, we'll take the example of Fiverr. Okay, so here or freelancer.com, there are 2 to 3 websites. So here what you can do is, now suppose if I'm good at web designing, or now if I'm good at graphic designing, what I'll do is I'll go and put up my work on this website. Now then what will happen is there will come a, this one thing doesn't write at all. Wait a second. Okay, so now there will come a person or a customer who will want a web page to be designed, So what he'll do is he'll come to this Fiverr, and here he'll put his requirements. He'll write down his requirement saying, so and so website I would need to build. I need someone to make. So all the people who are interested to make the websites can bid it for me. So whichever bid I like the most, I'll pick those and I'll get the work done from them. So this is in the kind of service line. So these are what is e-auctions known as. One example for e-auctions is www.bidderbay.com. Okay. Next is buyer aggregator. So here buyers aggregator, what will happen is that now if you see, if you see the example of Zomato. So here we all people, okay, now we all people are buyers. We want food. So we are the people who are going to buy food, correct? So there will be, if you see on Zomato, there will be a lot of small buyers. There will be hundreds and thousands of small buyers. We all will go on Zomato and order food. We all will go on Zomato and order food, and the Zomato will have a connection with the restaurants whichever are there, and from that it will collect and deliver it to us. So this is the process. So here what happens is, since there are a lot of individual buyers under Zomato or who are using the Zomato, this gives Zomato an upper hand, where what Zomato can do is, when it is going and negotiating with the restaurants which are there, he can get a better price of it. So buyer aggregator brings together large number of individual buyers so that they can gain the types of savings. So here there will be a lot of savings to Zomato because it does not have to pay much to the restaurants that are usually the privilege of large volume buyers. So since we are a large volume of buyers, it gives a privilege to Zomato. Okay. Next is virtual community. So virtual community is nothing but a platform where the customers who have a common interest, they'll come together and use the internet to communicate with one another. Example, your Quora app and your Pinterest also. Okay. And one more example would be that now suppose I have a group of BOA doubts and discussion group. So here what happens is people or the students who have doubt in intermediate subjects, they all come to a place, they post their doubt and other people clear it out for them. So this is like a virtual community that we have built in. Okay. Next is e-distribution. Next is e-distribution. So e-distribution means what happens is, here what happens is companies are going to supply the products and services directly to individual businesses themselves. Example, what will happen is if there is a, what do we say? I'll take this example here. Okay. Yeah. So first you need to understand the difference between two words. One is e-distributor and the other one is e-distribution. Okay, so e-distribution is a platform which you are going to use to distribute your product, whereas the person who is going to build that software or provide that software to do the e-distribution will be known as the e-distributor. Okay, so examples of e-distributors are Wipro and Infosys. So Wipro and Infosys, they provide a platform to do e-distribution so that the other individual businesses or the other customers who are purchasing this software can do e-distribution. Okay, so here what happens is, the e-distributor, okay, so the Wipro or these websites which are there, what they are going to do is, they are going to provide softwares to individual businesses so that they can perform their e-distribution, Next is e-procurement. 1 minute. Next is, yes. So next is e-procurement. So in e-procurement, what happens is that the management, what it does is, it procures all the activities via electronic means. So whatever it has to procure, raw material or anything that it needs, it will procure via electronic means itself. Now see, if you see here, what will happen is, there will be a company. And the company might need a raw material 1, raw material 2, raw material 3, and raw material 4. So what it will do is, it will have a website where it will go and post whatever requirements are there. Each raw material, how many kgs or how many liters or whatever, at what price it would need, it would go and put it on the website. There'll be a different vendors. There'll be a lot of vendors, vendor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all these vendors will come to the website and they will put their quotation on that raw material. And if the company, likes the quotation or is interested in that particular vendor, then they'll send a purchase order to the vendor that, we are interested to purchase your product. Okay. So this is your e-procurement. Using the website itself, you can procure. And then finally, you have e-marketing. So e-marketing is nothing but you're doing marketing via electronic means. Okay, so it is a processing of product or service using the internet. Suppose you run ads on YouTube, Google or Facebook, then that is a form of e-marketing only. Okay, so here okay, so this is not that relevant. And then one final thing that that is there under this is portal. So now what is So now what is a portal? Is that a portal is a gateway or a main entry point on the internet to a specific field of interest or an industry. So here what will happen is that this is the internet. This is the internet. In this internet, there will be a specific field, okay, or an industry. What will happen is the portal will be a blockage to it. That means if you have to enter into this portal, okay, this will be your gateway. Okay, this will be your gateway. Okay, so if you have to enter into this particular thing, here you will have a blockage where if you only get the login credentials or only if you pay a premium price, you'll be able to enter into it. And that is nothing but your portal. So portal serves as a gateway or a main entry point. This serves as a gateway or a main entry point on the internet to a specific field of interest or an industry. For example, if I have to give you, if let's take this is Netflix. Let's take this is Netflix. So to enter Netflix or to watch Netflix, you would need to pay money. There is a gateway to it, correct? So these are what is known as portals, okay? Another example would be your government websites or taxman. So Netflix is an example that we all can relate to, I think. Yes. So these were the different types of e-marketing concepts which we learned. Portal, e-shop, e-mall, e-auction, buyer's aggregator, virtual community, e-distribution, e-procurement, e-marketing. Okay. So I hope you don't have any doubts until this. So this will be, this concept will take it up tomorrow, and now we'll move on to the next concept, which is your components of e-commerce, Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all a 1 minute break so you can refresh, and by 8:18 we'll continue with the class. Okay, so if there is any doubts until now, you can ask me. No questions? Okay, fine. So how did your Diwali and all go? Did it go well? Example for e-distribution. Example for e-distribution platform. What here, see, they have given you Wipro. So that's what I had told you, right? So Wipro provides softwares. So if you would read this, you can see Wipro uses internet to provide the fully integrated e-business enabled solution. That is nothing but your softwares that will help you to unify the information flows across the major distribution processes. So these are just, you can remember them as just softwares which will be used for making distributions through the web. Now, if there is a Coca-Cola company, it is distributing throughout the world. Okay, this cannot happen manually. It would require a software to do so. So this software, this distributors will provide you, which will help you in giving real-time information about what the distribution is happening, where the distribution is happening, to which part of the city or which part of the country the distribution is happening smoothly, or where if there is any blockage. Yes, so that is about e-distribution. They have given you example of www.wipro.com. Okay. Yes, for e-procurement also, here you have an example. If you see eprocure.gov.in. Okay. So it's 8:18. I think we can now start with the next concept, and I hope you would have taken a 1 or 2 minute break. Right? Okay, very good. So now we are going to start with the components of e-commerce. So here what happens is, now just see this example. 1 minute, guys. Okay, yes. So as I've already told you that there will be a user, there will be a seller, and there will be Amazon. So user will try to buy product from Amazon, and Amazon will procure it from the seller, and the seller will deliver it to the user. Correct. So here first what happens is, so here in this whole e-commerce transactions, what are the different components that we are able to see? One, there is a involvement of users. Then next, there is involvement of Amazon. Amazon is nothing but your e-commerce vendor. It will be known as your e-commerce vendor. Okay. Next is to sell this, no, just a minute, guys, 1 minute. Yes, I'm sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so now to e-commerce vendor, Amazon is there, but at where does it sell its products or sell its services? So it has an infrastructure, a technological infrastructure or a tech infrastructure where it brings upon all of its products, services, and whatever it's offering, and there it is using it for selling. Next is fourth one, you would need an internet connection to make all of this happen. Fifth one, you would need a website or application so that the user is able to use it and make or place order, correct? Then finally, sixth, you will have payment gateway, using which you will place the order and you will make payment for it. Okay, so these are the components of e-commerce. First, what did I tell you? The first component is user. So users may be individuals or organizations or anybody who is using the e-commerce platform. Correct. So we might be the users or any company might come and buy from the e-commerce website. So anybody who is going to buy from it are going to be the users of e-commerce platforms. So e-commerce vendors need to ensure e-commerce vendors who Amazon. So Amazon needs to ensure that the user's loyalty is built. Now you have seen, no, if there is a user who is continuously buying from Amazon, he'll stick to Amazon only, he'll not shift to Flipkart for any reason. So that loyalty, the Amazon must be able to build, and also that their products are not delivered to the wrong person. So they must also make sure that the products are delivered to the right person only. Okay. Yes. Next is e-commerce vendors. So e-commerce vendors, who are e-commerce vendors? So e-commerce vendors are those people who sell, that is Amazon. Example is the e-commerce vendor. So it is an organization or entity. So it is an organization or entity providing the users with the goods or services they have asked for. Now, if you open Amazon, you will be able to see lots of goods and services that are there, which I would want to search, correct? Or I would want to buy. Okay. So below are the few things are given below here, which the vendor or the Amazon needs to ensure so that there is a better, effective, and efficient transaction. Okay, so what are the things that the Amazon needs to ensure is that first, the suppliers and supply chain management should be good. The Amazon must have sufficient suppliers, okay, who are financially and operationally also safe, so that whenever we want something, if now I am here, okay, now it is suppose the Great Indian Festival is going on in Amazon. Okay. Now, if that's the case, and if the suppliers are continuously, all the suppliers, what is happening is before 10 a.m. itself, all the suppliers have ran out of stock. Then what will happen? That will be a big business hit to Amazon, because that day they could have made so much sales, but because of the poor capacity of the suppliers that were there with Amazon, this had happened. Correct. So now here, what will happen is that here the suppliers would need to be very financially and operationally safe and be able to provide real-time stock inventory also. Correct. So that is one thing that the e-commerce vendor has to take care of. Next is warehouse operations. So here, as you all already know, that Amazon has its own warehouse where it stores the products of different vendors. So that what happens is, whenever order is placed, whenever order is placed with online retailers, the people who are going to deliver it, they can pick the products from the shelf, pack it for them as per the customer specification or customer standards are there, and prepare those products to be delivered. Okay, so warehouse operations also these e-commerce vendors can do. Next is related to shipping and return. So shipping is nothing but a supplementary or complementary to the whole warehouse operations only. So here what will happen is, if you have good return policy or good shipping policy, then that is like your USP or unique selling proposition. So now what is USP? I hope you should have read it in strategic management. In case if you do not know what USP is or what unique selling proposition is, it means something that makes you stand out of the crowd. Okay, it is one thing that is very unique about you. Now, for example, if you see this, the USP of suppose Domino's Pizza is that it would deliver in 30 minutes. For Myntra or Amazon, it might be 15-day replacement without any questions asked. So like that, it can have a different shipping and returns policy. If there is any fast return, then that will be a good unique selling proposition for the company. Okay, next is e-commerce catalog and product display. So whenever you display your product, all the products which are being sold must be displayed properly in the website. Suppose, okay, Here what might happen is if I'm searching for one product, another product must not show up. And if I'm searching for one product, even though the product is available, it should not show out of stock. Correct. So proper display of products must be there. Then marketing and loyalty program. So usually if you see, if anybody is a Nykaa user, Nykaa is a beauty brand website where it sells a lot of cosmetics. So what happens is every time you buy something on Nykaa, you buy beauty products on Nykaa, if suppose of the total bill, if the total bill is suppose 10,000, then what happens is 10% of it, we can say, it will get saved as your loyalty points. 10% of it will get saved as your loyalty points. And next time you make a purchase from Nykaa, this 10% will get reduced. This 10% will get reduced as discount. So this is a loyalty. So here what happens is, since every time you make a purchase, you are saving something, then you will continuously go then make a purchase. The same happens with airline companies also. I'm not really sure whether it is Indigo or which airline company. So if you are a very loyal customer to that particular airline company and you have made suppose a lot of ticket purchases from there, or if you have flew on that flight a lot of times, and they'll give you special VIP accesses to the lounge and all of those areas. Correct. So this is it. Next is showroom and offline purchase. So to experience products, the e-commerce vendors can also open up in offline also. Suppose now if I'm teaching in online, okay, now no, I think teaching wouldn't be a good example. If you example Apple should also not be the perfect example. Now suppose we'll imagine that Apple started online only. It did not have any retail or offline shops as such. Everything is happening online. Now if there is a customer who would want to just touch, feel and see the product how it is there, then for that purpose alone, online Apple can have a few stores open in and around the city, so that customers are able to come and get an experience of the product. Next is a privacy policy. So in privacy policy, 1 minute guys. Yes. So in privacy policy, what happens is that the e-commerce vendors must be very careful that the personal data of the customer does not leak out. Which is used. This privacy policy is explained. The usage of this policy is explained under customer data. I mean it's explained under IT Act 2000. It is explained under IT Act 2000. Okay. Next is security. So what is difference between privacy and security is that privacy is related to our personal data, our credit card details and all of those things. Security is just the other data like your age, your home address and all of that. So other data. So that security should also be very tight in case of e-commerce transactions, because all our data is available there. Correct. So they must use software which is keeping the data very safe with them, like SSL. Okay. So these were all the aspects that an e-commerce vendor needs to ensure so that the transaction happens in a smooth manner. So now we have studied about, we have studied two components of e-commerce. One is user, the second is e-commerce vendor. The third that we are going to study is the tech infrastructure. Am I going fast or is the speed fine? Just let me know, okay? So technology infrastructure. So as you all know, the e-commerce is technology driven only. So there must be a few, there are a few characteristics that the e-commerce technology, the technology which is used in the e-commerce must have, so that it works better and it gives better results. Okay. So to be a successful enterprise, you should be these three things. These three things should be there. One is scalable. Scalable means if there is a website, if there is a technology that you have used to build up the website or to display the products of e-commerce platforms, it must be scalable. So now what is scalable is, example, when you have this big billion day sale on Flipkart, what happens is, usually if there is like 100 sales every day made on Flipkart, on big billion days there'll be thousands of sales made on Flipkart. So the website must have that capacity to handle it. So with minimum efforts, it must be able to handle peak traffic. The same way you have seen, ICAI website is very bad at this being scalable. It is not scalable because what happens is, on the day of results, if you go and try all the students one day itself, a lot of traffic is generated. All the students, if they go on the result day to check ICA website, it will get crashed. But whereas in the case of Flipkart, you would have not seen it crash on big billion days and all. So the website of Flipkart is scalable. It is with minimal efforts itself, it is able to handle peak traffic. Okay. Next is easy to use and convenient. The technology or the website which is there, it must be very easy to use and convenient for the customers. It must not be very confusing. Why, if you go to the right, you must have the menu. If you go to the left, you must have the filters. So all of this must be there. It must be easy to use in general. So what they are saying is nothing is more frustrating to the customers than searching for but not finding something that is available on the website somewhere. So you know that this product is available on the website. Your friend has got it recently only. But when you are going and searching, you're not able to find that product at all. So like this and all, it should not happen. It should be easy to use and easy to find. Finally is responsive design. So the e-commerce or the website must have a responsive design. That means it must be usable on every device. Okay, so that the e-commerce is able to reach or is accessible to everyone, and it finally becomes a success. Okay, so RSC or RES, you can remember. R, responsive design, easy to use, and S, scalable. Okay, so the technology used in e-commerce should have the following characteristics, and these are the 3 characteristics that you have to keep in mind. Okay. Now, under technology infrastructure itself, there are a few components. Under technology infrastructure itself, there are a few components, and these components are what makes the e-commerce business. This is what makes the e-commerce business. It is what it is today. Correct. First is, as you all know, since there is a huge amount of data on e-commerce website, huge amount of data. Right, starting from reviews are a data, the product description would be a data, the product pictures are a data, the product title is a data, the expiry date or the information or the usage, whatever is given, there's a lot of data in that. So the customer computers, servers, and database are the backbone of the success of a venture. The better or the more efficient the servers, the database are, the better your experience, the better the user experience will be there. Next is mobile app. So mobile app is also one of the components of e-commerce. E-commerce, what do we say? E-commerce platform. So you know that mobile apps are nothing but just a smaller version of your personal computers. Everything is there in a small app, correct, which you can carry in your hand itself. So it is a small piece of software developed specifically for operating systems of handheld devices such as mobile phone. So especially for mobile phones, you can develop mobile apps, and in that mobile apps, you can be a e-commerce vendor. Okay. Then, so you know that usually you must know that mobile apps are costlier to be made than websites. Websites are actually cheaper than mobile apps. Okay. So here there are a few few more components under mobile apps. This I'll explain it later as the chapter goes on. Next is digital library. So now we were studying the components of what? Components of technology infrastructure or tech infrastructure. First component was your computer, servers, and database. Next component was your mobile apps. Third component is a digital library. So what is a digital library? It is a special library which has with the focused collection of digital objects. So all the objects at one place, if you keep, it will be known as a digital library. Okay, it is a storage space which usually contains all the text, visual material, audio, all the video material, all of these. If it is stored in electronic media formats at a place, then it will be known as digital library. Okay, this is nothing but a type of information retrieval system. That means whenever you need information about something, you can go to this digital library and pick up whatever information you want. Finally is the data interchange. So data interchange, as you all know, electronic communication. You can use electronic means to exchange your data. So for ensuring correctness of data interchange between multiple players in e-commerce, because data is exchanged between the vendors and the Amazon and the users and the vendors. So all of these are, there are multiple layers of people where the information is getting exchanged. So such exchange of information should also be very good. Okay. The communication should also be very good, so that this technology infrastructure is a success. Okay, so what were the components of technology infrastructure? I'll repeat once again: computer, servers, database, mobile apps, digital library, and then finally data interchange. So I hope this is also understood. So now we have read three components of e-business or e-commerce. We have completed user, we have completed e-commerce vendor, we have completed technology infrastructure. The fourth is your internet connection. So internet connection is also a component of e-commerce business that you all know. So as you can see here, yes. So here they tell you the key to 1 minute, guys. It's not loading properly. Yeah. So as you know, they say that it is a key. So this internet or network is the key success of e-commerce, key to success of e-commerce transaction. Because what happens is, if you need to just open or access the e-commerce business, then definitely internet must be there. Without that, you cannot even access it. Later on only comes the talk of how good it is or how good it is not. First, you must be able to access it. So further, the internet or network is required. So internet or network is a critical enabler for e-commerce. This keyword, remember, critical enabler for e-commerce businesses to happen. The faster the net connectivity is, the better your e-commerce business will be able to perform. Okay. The next component of e-commerce business is the web portal. Web portal means nothing but your website. So website is the interface through which an individual shall perform e-commerce transaction. So I will go on to website and only perform the e-commerce transaction, or from there only I'll buy or buy things, correct? So that is your web portal. So web portal is nothing but a front end through which the user interacts with the e-commerce transaction. So my Amazon is the website. So that is my web portal. That is my front end through which I will go and interact to make any e-commerce transaction. Okay, so this website can be accessed through desktop, laptop, PDA, then handheld computing devices, etc. So what is the most important thing about a web portal or a website is that it must be simple and it must have a clarity of content. Okay, simple to use and the clarity of content must be there. And this, what will happen is this will directly improve the customer experience of buying a product online. So the better the customer experience is about a particular website, the more he'll be likely to visit it next time also. Okay. And then final component of e-commerce business is the payment gateway. So here, as you all know, that what happens here is that there is a user, and if he has to make a payment to the bank of Amazon, okay, has to make payment to Amazon. Here the money will not directly travel to Amazon. In between, there will be a payment gateway through which what happens is the money will pass through this and then go to Amazon. So this payment gateway providers, example, you would have heard of CC Avenue. Okay, this is one of the most common examples. So what this payment gateway usually does is that it is going to verify the money that you are sending. It is going to approve the money that you are sending. And finally, it will take decision whether to accept your payment or whether to decline your payment, depending on the information that it has about you. Okay. And once it has accepted, then it will go to the Bank of Amazon. So what this service, since the payment gateway is providing, it is going to charge a commission. So it charges about 1.8 to 2.5% of commission plus GST separately to send the payment to Amazon. Suppose now if you have paid 100 rupees to Amazon, always remember the whole 100 rupees has not reached Amazon. A part of it has been taken away by the payment gateway. So payment gateway, if you see, it is a system of computer processes that authorizes, verifies, and accepts or declines the credit or debit card transactions on behalf of the merchant through secure internet connections. So it allows a secure connection directly between a website and a bank. So the website and the bank, there is a secure connection between them both because of the payment gateway, which is there, because it authorizes the information, it verifies the information, and then only finally it accepts or declines whatever information or whatever the payment has been made. So that is about this facilitates direct placement of payments from client's account. So from our account, it directly goes and deposits into the website's bank account. Okay, so this is what a payment gateway does. Examples of payment methods of payment would be debit card, credit card, and UPI. Payment gateway example would be CC Avenue. There is one more pay, if I'm not, Razor Pay. These and all are your payment gateways. So these are all of your components of e-commerce. Components of 1 minute. Where is the start? Components of e-commerce. Okay, so we have studied all the components. We have studied payment gateway also and website or app also. So in the last class, we started studying about this m-commerce and e-commerce. So m-commerce was a commerce that was based on your mobile phone, whereas e-commerce, the commerce or the trade was done using your internet, or what we can say your laptops, computers, and your web browsers. Correct. So just a minute. Okay, yep. So now we are going to start studying the architecture of networked system. Architecture of networked system means how the system has been built or how e-commerce is usually going to work. Okay, using the connections or the network, how an e-commerce is going to basically run is what we are going to study in this portion. Okay, so here they are telling that there may be two types how an e-commerce might run using a networked system. One is two-tier architecture and the other one is a three-tier architecture. So about architectures, we have already read in the chapter number 2. And I think if you had now, seen or attended that class, then this will be easier for you to understand. So two-tier architecture, what first we are going to study about the two-tier architecture. So what does the two-tier architecture tells you is that there will be two layers. One is the presentation tier and the other one is database tier. One is the presentation tier and the second one is your database tier. Okay. So these are the two layers which are going to be there. So what will happen is first, whenever a customer is there, suppose this is the customer. When a customer is there and when this customer wants to access an e-commerce website or take information from there or wants to buy something from there, then there must be a system or a screen through which this person who is there, this customer who is there is able to interact with the data that he wants. He is able to interact with the data that he wants. So the data that he wants is going to be stored in the database tier. The data that he wants is going to be stored in the database tier. Okay. Whereas if he wants to see the display or if he wants to just access this database tier, how is it going to be possible is using the presentation tier. This is going to happen using the presentation tier. So what happens in presentation tier is that first this customer who is there, they can interact. This is like an interface to them, the screen through which they'll be able to interact with the the database tier. And second, if there is any processing, suppose what happens, this user goes and types www.amazon.com. If he types that, a screen will open. Who will help in opening the screen or displaying the screen? Presentation tier. Next, what he does is he goes to the search bar, and in the search bar he searches suppose shoes under. Kindly, you can. Yep, thank you. I think you have muted yourself. Okay. Yes. So what happens once he goes on to the Amazon website, he goes on to the search bar and searches, suppose shoes under 1,000 rupees or shoes under 2,000 rupees. So once you have typed shoes under 1,000 or 2,000, what the Amazon is going to do is Amazon is going to process the information. That is, it is going to process what information you have asked. It is going to go to the database here, get that information and again present it to you. So the processing and the presentation both happens in the presentation tier itself, whereas only the data storage, okay, it works, the database tier works like that. Okay. So presentation tier, or what you see, always remember the other names that are given for these tiers, because in the exam they may, for MCQs, this might be one of the questions too. So presentation tier or client application tier or client tier, these are the three names. Okay, and client app tier is also one more name for it. Okay, so what is this? This is an interface which allows the users to interact with the e-commerce vendor or m-commerce vendor. Users can log into an e-commerce vendor through this tier. I have already told you this. Then database tier means here the product data, price data, customer data and other data are kept here and users cannot directly access it. The presentation tier is what is going to help them access the database tier. Okay. Yes. So now that we have studied what are the two tiers in an two-tier system, so here now we are going to study the advantages and disadvantages. But before that, we'll go and see the three-tier architecture, three-tier architecture too. Okay. So in three-tier architecture, what happens is there are basically three layers, as you know. First is the presentation tier, then is the application tier, and then you have your database tier. So here the what do we say? The database tier was holding or storing the data or storing the information. Here also the database tier will do the same job only. It will store the information or store the data for you. Now, in the two-tier architecture system, the presentation layer was itself doing the display, or what do we say, access. One second. Yes, was doing the display or giving you access to the system, and plus it was processing too. Correct. Now this what happens in three-tier architecture is that this job gets split into two tiers. Okay, so one, you have your presentation tier, whereas whatever information you are going to ask or search, it is going to help you, that tier is going to help present that information. And application tier is the tier where the processing is going to happen. So you have presentation tier, application tier, and storage, database tier. Okay. So what happens in presentation tier is that it occupies the top level and it displays information related to the product available on the website. Okay, whenever you open an Amazon website, the front page that you see, the display that is there, that is done using the presentation tier only. Next is application tier. What are the other names for application tier? Middle tier, logic tier, or business logic. Okay, remember these names. And also presentation tier. So there are totally 5 names: application tier, middle tier, logic tier, and then you have business logic, and finally presentation. Okay. So it controls the application functionality by performing detailed processing. So whatever processing needs to happen, that happens in this layer. Finally is your database tier. Here, as you all know, the database servers where information is already stored and retrieved. So here is where the information about all the products, pricing, customer data, everything is stored here only. This is independent of application servers or business logic. That means it is independent of the first layer, that is your application servers, and business logic is nothing but your second layer. It is independent of those layers is what it wants to tell you. So here what happens is the client sends a request to the server. Okay. So client sends a request to so there is this client. This client will ask information to the first layer, or what you call it as your presentation tier. And then here what happens is that you have your second layer. What is your second layer? Second layer is your business logic layer, or your application layer. Correct. So here then what happens is, then you have your third layer, which is your database layer. Here first the client is going to request some information to the first layer. This is going to send the request to the database. Okay, database. And the database is going to send the information to, this is going to get processed in the second layer, and then is going to ask information in the third layer. The third layer will then either send the data directly to second layer if there is any processing left, or directly to the first layer itself, so that it is able to show it to the client or show it to the person who has asked this information from. Okay, now we are going to read the advantages and disadvantages. So advantages of two-tier system is that, first, in comparison to, see, now we have studied two-tier systems and three-tier systems. Here, what happens? The presentation and the processing happens in one layer, and this data is stored in another layer. Here, presentation happens in one layer, processing happens in one layer, and database is stored in, data is stored in another layer. Now, there is one-tier architecture also, which is not given in your chapter. Here, the presentation, processing, and data storage all happens in one layer itself. Everything happens in one layer itself. Okay, 1 second. Yes. So here what happens is, now when we are going to study the advantages of two-tier systems advantages are given comparison of two systems. One is, first, with respect to one-tier architecture, what better you have in two-tier is that, first, your performance will be higher. Why is your performance going to be higher? Because different, there are 2 tiers to handle 2 different tasks. So better they specialize in those activities. So here your business logic, that is your processing layer, and your database layer are different. So both do their own jobs and both specialize in their own jobs. So here in comparison to 1 tier system, your performance is higher. Next is here they are telling that the processing is also sometimes shared between the client tier and your server. That means your what they're telling is here in your 2-tier system, the first layer and the second layer both share the processing, but actually the major processing happens in the first layer itself. Okay, so here what they're telling is, since here the processing is shared, here the load is going to be shared between the both, whereas in 1-tier architecture, everything that one layer itself will have to do. Then another advantage is that in comparison to your 3-tier architecture, here this structure is going to be simple as there are only 2 layers. Okay, so this is also easy to set up and maintain. Okay, what is the disadvantage of 2-tier system is that first is that as the number of users is going to increase, the performance is going to deteriorate. You all know as the load is going to increase, the performance will come down. That is a natural thing. Second is there is a restricted flexibility. What restricted flexibility means, that is, in case what happens is that this point I'll come back once I complete your 3-tier systems advantages and disadvantages. You will understand this point better there. Okay. So advantages of 3-tier system. So here first they're telling that there is a clear separation between all the 3 layers. All the 3 layers knows what job they have to do, when they have to do, and how they have to do. So all the 3 layers specialize in that. So in comparison to 2-tier and 1-tier, this has a better separation. Correct. And then here what they are telling is that there is a quicker development through reuse of pre-built business logic components. So here, since each component has its own job to do or has its own logic, if any one component also somewhere in between it does not work properly, then we can quickly develop it, because only see, if now you have to develop a 2-tier system, the first layer has to do 2 jobs. So you have to develop in such a way that both the jobs are done. Whereas in 3-tier architecture system, only 1 job each tier has to do. So that development will be easier, and the test time will also be shorter, because only 1 job you have to test there. Okay, then next is dynamic load balancing. So here what happens is that since there are 3 layers, if there is too much load, it will get balanced easily. One or the other layer is going to help in taking or sharing the load of another layer. Okay, next is change management. So this point. So here what they tell you is that updating the version of software is easier here. So whenever now you would have seen, if you have generally any app installed, there are usually updates that come in your Play Store. There is updates that is going to come in your Play Store, right? So here, now I'll tell you that, now if I'm going to tell you that this updates, it is easier to be done in a 3-tier system than in comparison to a 2-tier system. You're going to ask how? You're going to ask why? Why is it easier for an update to happen in 2-tier system as in comparison to 3-tier system is what we are going to understand now. So here, if suppose in 3-tier system, what happens is that you have Amazon user is there, then you have your Amazon app, and then you have your Amazon database where all the information is stored. Suppose this is the first layer, this is your second layer, and this is your third layer. Okay. So here what happens is that whenever you have this update to be happened, it does not affect your first layer or your third layer. Directly this updation happens in your second layer only. Directly this updation happens in your second layer only. That means what they will do is, in the processing layer alone, they will give the update, and that update is going to reach all of you through your Play Store, and there you can take up the update directly and take up the update directly. Okay. Whereas what happens in a 2-tier system is that since the presentation and the processing is done together or happens together there, then the updation takes a little more time, because already the architecture is already performing a lot of tasks with itself. So it's going to take you extra time to do updation there. Whereas here, since each tier is doing its own job and has its own functionalities to perform, it's easier to update here. Okay, the same thing only they have given here in this disadvantage, that restricted flexibility, that any change in the version of software needs to be installed in each user's device. So here what they tell you is that usually in a 3-tier system and 2-tier system, if you compare and see, in 3-tier system, if you give a updation in the processing layer, it will go to each phone by itself and it is going to show as an update, and if you click it as an update, it is going to update by itself. That happens in 3-tier system. Whereas in 2-tier system, what they are trying to tell you is that here usually what happens is that the software updation which is there, it cannot happen on overall basis. You have to go on each and every single system and update it one by one. So here the process is tedious. Okay. Next, what we have is the disadvantages of 3-tier system. Disadvantage of 3-tier system. So here they are telling you that since 3 tiers like work differently, there you will have an increased need. Okay, increased need of network traffic management. Here, why they are specifically telling this is because in nowadays all the e-commerce use only 3-tier systems. So this e-commerce, you would have already seen how rapidly it is growing. So there is an increased need of network traffic management now in the 3-tier system, and the server load balancing should also be done, and the fault tolerance should also be good. That means there must be least amount of faults that are there. Okay, yes. So now here what happens is usually here the fault tolerance is not good in a 3-tier system. So it comes out as a disadvantage. Then here what they're telling is 3-tier systems are usually more complex, and the maintenance is currently inadequate. That is the maintenance tool that should have been there is currently inadequate. This is actually quite not true, because this ICI study material has been printed a while back. Correct. Right now, whatever tools that we have are, they are the first thing, they are mature and also they are adequate. Okay. Yes. Next, what we are going to study. So this was about your architecture. Correct. Okay. So next, what we are going to study is about how e-commerce is done using your mobile apps. How e-commerce is going to be done using your mobile apps. Till now, okay, till now in this chapter, we were only studying how e-commerce is going to be done using your web browsers. That means your websites or your internet and all of this. Right now, we are moving into a better version of it, that how e-commerce is done through your mobile phone. Okay, or your mobile devices in general. Okay, so here what they tell you is this is called your m-commerce. This is named as your m-commerce. Your e-commerce, if it is done through mobile phone, if you have Amazon app on your mobile phone, then that is m-commerce. If you have Flipkart on your mobile phone, then that is m-commerce. Okay, yes. So m-commerce means buying and selling of goods and services through wireless handheld devices. First, it should be wireless. Number two, you should be able to hold it in your hand. It should be basically portable and mobile. Okay. First is your telephone, and next is your personal digital assistant. So PDA, these personal digital assistants are a matter of old times. Right now, you don't have these devices. Okay. Yes. So here what they are telling is m-commerce usually enables user to access the internet without needing to find a place to plug in. Now, even if you have to put in your Wi-Fi, you need a few wires to be connected to it. If you are using a direct LAN cable, then that way also you have to connect your wire. Correct. But now here what they are telling you is here the internet for m-commerce comes from a wireless source. That means if you just install a SIM onto your phone and update a data pack onto that SIM, you will automatically get internet. So that is a very good advantage of m-commerce. Okay. So here what they tell you is key growth in the mobile commerce sector in recent year has been because of the apps only. Because of mobile apps only, these e-commerce have grown even more. Correct. Because it becomes way more easier. There in India, there might be 40 to 50% of population who does not have a laptop, but almost 80% of the population might have a mobile phone. So that helps in the growth of e-commerce. Correct. So usually what happens is these mobile apps, through which the e-commerce websites work, they are usually preloaded on this handheld devices, like how a Facebook is preloaded onto any phone or Instagram is preloaded onto any phone. The same way your Amazon and Flipkart can also be preloaded or might be preloaded on your handheld devices. Okay, so now here we are talking about what is the difference between m-commerce, what is the difference between m-commerce and what is the difference between e-commerce. So the difference between m-commerce and e-commerce in the basis of architecture, e-commerce architecture and m-commerce architecture, there are only two differences. Okay, here there are three layers in both. Here also you have client layer, application layer, database layer, and all the three has the same functionalities also. Okay, but here what happens is that the function of the application layer, database layer, application layer and database layer does not change, because only what happens is how you use the front end of your mobile phone or how you use the front end of your laptop is only going to change. Amazon, how it is going to process the request is going to be the same in your mobile phone also, same in your laptop also. Amazon, from where the data it is going to take, that is going to be same for your mobile phone also and same for your laptop also. So here only the front end is going to basically change, or the interface is basically going to change. So in m-commerce, you're going to have mobile web browsers and mobile internet. Here what happens is that in e-commerce, you will have your web servers, web browsers and web net. Okay, so this is the only difference. Here it's going to be in the form of an app basically, and here it's going to be in the form of a website. So that is the only difference between the both. Okay. So next here what they are telling you is that how e-commerce is going to work, or what is the workflow of an e-commerce. So here this is something that I don't think I need to even explain, but the sake of explaining, just because it is given in your textbook, I am going to explain. Okay, so here first what happens, whenever you want to buy something from an e-commerce website, you have to first log in from your site. Once you have logged in from your site, you need to select the product or service that you need. And after you have selected, you can place the order and do the payment, okay, using the payment gateway. Now, this is from the side of the users. Our task ends right from here. So once you log in, till you place a order and do the payment, that is the task of a user basically. Now, after that, what happens is that now comes the task of the vendor or the seller, to whom the product, to whom the who is going to, the person who is going to make the sale, the vendor or seller, now his duties come in. So what he has to do is, first he has to dispatch it and do the shipping process, whatever is there. So here there might be two kinds of dispatch and shipping process that can happen. One, what can happen is, now you can take the example of Zara and Amazon. So Amazon has various vendors, whereas Zara is only a single vendor, and Zara has its own website, and Amazon, has a website of its own. So in Zara, only the clothes of Zara will be sold. So what this can do is, since the inventory, so now if I'm going to a Zara website, if I'm going to type www.zara.com, here what happens is, once the website opens and once I'm going to place an order into that website, here what happens is, the inventory which is there, it is also with the Zara only. So here they can directly, once I place order, they can start with the shipping process. Whereas in the case of Amazon, this does not only sell the clothes of Zara, but also clothes of various other brands. Correct. So here what happens is that this Amazon has to inform the vendor, whoever is there, and the vendor has to start with the dispatch and shipping process. Okay, next is delivery tracking. So once the product starts with its shipment, it has to be, the vendor has to provide the customer with proper delivery tracking details. Okay. And then finally, what happens is, usually you have this cash on delivery option also, right? So if you have already made the payment to card, then no problem. Or else if you have made the payment already through any wallet or any UPI, then there is no issue. But if the customer has told that they are going to do the payment using cash on delivery, then the vendor and seller has to also track whether after the product was given to them, was the payment collected properly or not. So all these tracking also the vendor or seller must do. Okay. So I hope until this it is clear to you all, and we can start with the next topic. I'll give a 2-minute break and then we can continue. Okay. So here, so what I would like to request you is that once any chapter is over, please go into your ICI website. And in the ICI website, I've already told you that there is an MCQ booklet. Now itself start, practicing it or answering it. But because I think it's quite a huge booklet for somebody to go through after, near exam time. So it is better that you take that book now itself and just go through all the MCQs, not even to actually answer them, just to see and understand the pattern, how an ICAI is going to ask you questions in the exam. Because you might think that there might be simple MCQs which are being asked in the exam, or direct MCQs which are being asked in the exam. But whereas if you open the booklet and see, you will get an idea that whether actually direct MCQs are being asked, or whether case study kind of MCQs are being asked. If case study kind of MCQs are being asked, is it a very complex case study which will take you time in the exam, or these are easier depending on your capability? So according to that, in the exam also you can do the time allocation and present. We will be you'll be able to in like all sense do better in the paper. Okay, so even not if for the sake of answering them, take the paper to just see the pattern of the questions that are being asked. Okay, and you can, when you start answering like 10 to 20 daily, you will find a few that you were not able to answer. You can just mark those, and before the exam you can go through those MCQs alone. Okay, yes. So now I think we can start with the next topic. Your next topic is risks and controls related to e-commerce. So related to e-commerce, what are the risks and what are the controls that can be taken to mitigate that risk is what we are going to understand. This is also a very simple topic only. So in your book, I think there are around 15 risks which are given. I would here only discuss maximum 9, because in the exam, even if it is going to be asked, maximum 6 to 7 you have to write and come risk. Okay, I'll maximum discuss 9 here. The rest you can go through by yourself. Okay. So risks in, just a minute. So risks in business environment. So here what they are telling is, electronic business environment. Now you have, if you see a traditional business that is being running in a store, what are the different risks that can be there in a traditional business? Here you might have a risk that anybody can break down to the store and steal it and go. Or whenever, what happens is a customer can come and pick up a product and just go outside, and you will never know whether the product has been gone from there or not. Okay, so like this, when there are different types of risks in traditional business, the same way, whenever you are operating your business electronically, then in such case also you will have a few risks, correct? So in the perspective of a customer, from the point of view of a customer, what are the risks that are there? First is, they say that there is a risk of privacy and security. This we all know, that because every single thing is going to be online, right from our name to the product that we search to the payment that we make, every single information is going to be there. So there is a concern that your privacy and security might be affected. What is the difference between privacy and security is that I've already told in chapter number 2 that privacy means anything which is related to your personal information. If that gets affected, then that is a privacy concern. Security means that other than your personal data, if any other data is being misused, then that will be a security concern. Okay, next you might have quality issues. Quality issue means you might have ordered for an iPhone, but what you have got in return would be a soap box. Okay, so that, or a soap, that is a quality issue that you can have. That means whatever original product is there, it might be different than what you have ordered online. Next is there will be a delay in goods and hidden costs. So usually what happens is that keeping aside your Amazon or Flipkart and bigger website that's like that, there are websites which are working at a small level also, correct? There are websites which are working on a small level also. So here what happens is, this point is mainly given in relation to those websites only, that first there might be hidden costs. Hidden cost means that if you open if you go and if you want to buy some shoes from Amazon, and if there is some XYZ e-commerce vendor, and if you are buying shoes from there, here what is going to be, going to happen is that this shoe, Okay, in Amazon, it will be directly written that, you know, this shoe is of suppose 1099 rupees after putting all the discounts. And here the shipment cost is going to be 100 rupees. If you are going to take the option of cash on delivery, then you will have to pay an extra charge of 50 rupees. If you are not taking cash of delivery, then this 50 rupees will not be there. If you are paying through so and so debit card or credit card, this will be the discount. So like this, all the information, or if there is any other cost that is involved, okay, everything is going to be clearly mentioned in that website. But what will happen is, if you go to any other small working businesses where they are trying hard to sell your product, they'll not tell you all the cost. They'll just tell you that, you know, this shoe is going to cost you just 999 rupees. Okay, and this 999 rupees, and yeah, you can place order. But what happens is that when you go to place order, or once a order has been received by you using now suppose you have placed an order for this product, and it is showing as cash on delivery, and once the person who comes to deliver the product to you tells you that you have to pay around suppose 1200 or something, you will be shocked why you have to pay so much. Then you will get to know that, you know, this was exclusive of GST, whereas when the GST is included, you will have to pay 1200 rupees, whereas usually here everything is on the face. You will know how much GST has been included or not included, correct? So these can happen. So hidden cost issue can come, and as well as there might be a delay in goods. What happens if there is bad weather, or the customer is not getting cleared? So in this case, your shipment may also get delayed. So this is one of the risks in your e-commerce business environment. Next, you have that you need an internet connection to access it. If there is any area where there is no internet connection, that means you cannot buy anything from there using e-commerce website, and that sometimes becomes a problem, because now you would have seen the climate in Chennai, and suppose the network goes off one day. What happens is, all that is going to help is going to come from the local vendors only, and not the e-commerce website. There is a lack of personal touch. You already know this, because you cannot feel the product. Basically, all you believe is what you see and what the reviews are given about it. Next is, you can have credit card issues, that the credit card or debit card information might be stolen and misused, and that might be a security threat for you. Okay, so these are the problems or risks that a customer faces from his or her end. Now we are going to understand the problems that an e-commerce vendor is going to face. Now this this differentiation, that these are customer problems or user problems or e-commerce vendor problems, this I have done from my end. This is not given in the book. So whenever you write risk, you can be indifferent. I mean, you can be indifferent towards any of these. Okay. Problem of anonymity. So the e-commerce vendor doesn't know that who is placing the order, or from where he or she is placing order. Okay, so due to this, what happens is that I don't know if many of you know that recently there came a talk where they told that using the soap, you can make a bomb out of it. You can make a bomb that actually explodes out of just a mere soap, and using 2 or 3 more ingredients with it. So now if something like this happens tomorrow, you will never know who that person was itself, because on an e-commerce website, you never know who is buying from you, or whether the information that they are giving as a customer, whether it is authenticate or not. Okay, next is repudiation of contract. So here what might happen sometime is that the sale order which is given by the customer might sometimes get cancelled. What might happen is that this might have happened with a few of you, that you might have placed some order, and what might have happened is 4 to 5 days it must have been shown that it would ship in sometime, and then on the 6th day that order will itself get cancelled, saying that the vendor or the seller, whoever is there, he does not have the stock of that product. Okay, so this possibility can also be there. Next is attack from hackers. Hackers can hack in the system and they can create a confusion there. Finally is denial of service. If in case there is the system or the e-commerce website is not working for some time, or it is on downtime for some time, then the customers might be denied that you cannot place order, or you cannot access the website right now. So these are the risks that are there in the e-commerce business environment. Okay. So now we had first shared that what are the risks in the e-commerce business environment. Okay. So first, before we move on to the session, anyone who's feeling sleepy, Anyone who is not able to concentrate, if that's the case, you can go quickly wash your face and come back, and we'll move on with the session. Also, this session does not need a lot of brains to understand. It is quite a very simple topics that we are going through. That's why I've taken up this in the morning, and the tougher topics will take towards the end of the day, maybe in the night session there. Okay, yes. So we just studied about the risks in business environment. Before we go or move on to the controls that are there in the business environment, we are going to understand who are the participants of e-commerce. That is, when an electronic commerce or electronic trade is happening, who are the participants in that? Okay, so here you have a mnemonic, which is US government likes national terrorist Pakistan. US government likes national terrorist Pakistan. Okay, so here the mnemonic letters are US government LNTP. Okay, you can write this mnemonic somewhere. So now let's start with the users which are there. So first is users. So users means the people who go and like customers like us basically. Okay, so the people who genuinely go to a e-commerce platform or an m-commerce platform to do some transaction, they will be called as a user. So they are the participants of e-commerce. Then the people who sell and buy. Okay, that means if it is a B2B business, there will be buyers and sellers also. If it is a B2C business, here what will happen? You will have sellers majorly. So here the sellers and buyers will be a participant of e-commerce business. So here what might happen is that if sellers and buyers are there, they must be very careful that what happens is whenever they are uploading this product data or a price catalog or discounts, they must see that if it is a product, then all the details of it must be displayed. If they are uploading details of the prices, there must not be any hidden cost. If they are providing any discount, those discounts must not be misleading in any way. If they are saying that they'll take up return, then they must also provide in which and when, at what case they'll take up the return from them. So every single thing must be very clearly mentioned in the e-commerce website. Next, you have your government. So here government is also an user, because because whenever you are going to collect tax when you make a product or service sale, then that tax has to be in the end of the day, it is going to go to the government only. And the second thing is that government will also keep a check whether the products or services that you are selling are legal or not. Okay, anybody must not come on a Amazon website and should be able to sell bombs or AK-47 or what do you say, drugs. Okay, so the government will keep a check whether all the products and services that are sold on an e-commerce platform are legal only. Next is network service providers, means the people who provide internet. They are also a major component. Okay, or the major people who help in the business of e-commerce. Any downtime in network can be disastrous for business. What they're telling is these network providers must be able to provide the best internet connection, because suppose imagine the Flipkart has its big billion days, and in big billion days itself 5 hours the whole network was down. So here what will happen? Flipkart will have a very bad reputation, one, and it is going to lose out on a lot of money. Okay, next is technological service providers. That means other than internet connection, if there is any tech that is needed for the e-commerce, example cloud computing, this we are going to learn in the later part of the chapter. For these also you have network providers. So these network providers are also users of e-commerce. Okay, then you have logistics service providers, one of the most important people, because these are the people who are responsible for the delivery of products to us. So these people are also very important in that process. And then finally payment gateways, because they help in the smooth functioning or the smooth transaction happening in terms when it comes to payment. So these people are also important. So here if you can see, US government likes right, likes national terrorist Pakistan. So this is the mnemonic. Okay, so I hope that is also clear to you. So now we have studied what are the risks in e-commerce environment, who are the users of e-commerce environment, and what are the controls for mitigating the risk of e-commerce vendor are given. E-commerce websites are given here. So first what they're telling is the participants who are there. Now we have read who are the participants. Who are the participants? US governments like National Terrorist Pakistan. So these are the people who are the participants, that is the users, technology service providers, network service providers, government, not except for government, all the rest of the people, but majorly the users or the sellers, the vendors, they must be educated about the risks that are there in the e-commerce website. They must be educated about the risks that are there in the e-commerce website. So they, whatever the policies are there, okay, the free, so this education program, so just these are nothing but your awareness programs, okay. So this awareness programs, you must decide, or your company or your e-commerce company must have a policy. Amazon must have a policy to itself that this education programs, that is for users as well as for the sellers, when, at what frequency it will happen, how many times in a month or how many times in a year it is going to be happen, what kind of education programs are going to happen, the nature of it, and who are going to participate in such programs also, they have to decide. That is one way of mitigating risk. Next is communication of organizational policies to customers. So whatever policy an organization holds, okay, the policies might be of different forms. So privacy policy, that means what the personal information that has been gathered from the customer, how is it going to be used, that must be communicated to the customer. Next is information security. So what are the measures that the company have taken to provide good security and good control, they must tell to the customer. Then what are the shipping and billing policies? That means shipping, what and all shipping base are there, or how many time it will take to ship you there usually. How, whenever you are billing, whether how are the payment policies. So all of these things also should be communicated to the customers, and refund policies also, because in how many days or what kind of product. Suppose now perishable product cannot be returned, like milk, if you buy today, tomorrow it cannot be returned to the vendor. So like this, what products can be returned, and how is the refund policy work, how many days, or what are the other things that have to be kept in mind. So all these organizational policies, if it is clearly communicated to the customers, there will be no confusion, and this will help in decreasing or mitigating the risks basically. Then you must comply that you must ensure that the e-commerce websites are complying with the industry body standards. That means what happens is the Reserve Bank of India has been releasing a few standards that has to be complied with. Okay. So if it is complied properly, then the e-commerce business will also work smoothly. Next is protect your e-commerce business from intrusion. So as you all know, your system or the e-commerce websites are not yours. The e-commerce website which is there, they must be protected from the external intrusion that can happen. Suppose what can happen is virus can enter into the e-commerce website. So what you must do is every day you must daily scan for viruses. Then hackers can hack. So for that, what you can do is you can do regular assessment, that how vulnerable your website is to hacking, whether it has that good amount of security or not. You can keep passwords. The employees can change their passwords regularly who have the access into the e-commerce websites. Then regularly software should be updated. As and when a new software is coming, the better you update, the stronger will be the security. If there is any sensitive data, then try to encrypt that data and keep. So all of these also should be kept in mind so that your e-commerce business is protected. And these are the 4 ways how you will mitigate the, where did it go? 1 minute. It came. So those were the ways how you can mitigate your risks basically. Okay. 1 minute. Yes. So here don't ever think that this particular point you will leave to exam and go, or this will not come in an examination. Now first thing I'll tell you why I tell you not to leave anything for the exam and go. Try to cover as much as possible from your end. Number 2, why you should study from ICA study material. Okay, so here what happened was, in the exam they have before asked questions on controls for mitigating risk. What are the controls that can be taken? But in an exam, they had asked you specifically this point alone, that please tell about how we can protect our e-commerce business from intrusions, what are the kinds of intrusions and how you can protect it. So these, like this, many from like very tiny areas, they are asking questions of 5 marks and all. So if you read the whole ICS study material, it will be very easy for you. And that's the reason I'm explaining each and every like maximum points available in the that can be done from my end from the ICS study material. Okay, so kindly pay attention to the details. Okay, yes. So next we are going to study about, so in between there are a few here and there the topics that I'm leaving and going, all of those I'll cover in the end when the right time is going to come. Okay, yes. So guidelines for guidelines and laws governing e-commerce. As you all know, any business that you're going to run, there will be laws and there will be guidelines which you have to abide by. If your business does not wants to get into any illegal trap, or for the smooth functioning of any business, you must be following these guidelines and laws. So the same way now, even though the business is done electronically or e-commerce concept has come in, still you have to follow the guidelines or laws which have been given there. Okay. So first we are going to see the guidelines and then we'll move on to see the laws that govern the e-commerce websites. Okay, just a minute, guys. Okay, first, any doubts until now? Can I start with the guidelines? If there is any doubts, just let me know in the comment box, and if it is clear, just let me know that everything is clear. Okay. Yes. So guidelines for e-commerce. So here what they are telling is that whether it is a e-commerce or whether it is m-commerce, you need to have clear policy details. Clear policy guidelines. That means clear policy guidelines means if say now we are going to see the examples, but for example, 1 minute. Okay. Suppose, you can have a policy that in the company, after whatever sale is going to happen after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., we will not allow any credit sale to suppose happen after 10 p.m. Okay, like this, any kind of policy they might have. Okay, what are the policies? What related to which aspects? Someone is saying screen is not visible. Is the screen visible? Okay, just let me know whether it is visible or not in the chat box. Okay. Yes, it is visible. I think there's some issue with your internet. Then you can just like go out and like join the meeting again. Yes. So here what they have basically given you are a few aspects that you have to keep in mind, and related to these, or importantly on these aspects, you must come out with proper details or come out with proper policies on this. First is your billing. Related to billing, what you must have policies is that what is going to be the format of billing, how your bill is going to be framed, where and where, when and where what text is going to be given, or how much calculation is going to be shown, and what are the messages that are going to be shown, or what are the numbers, or what are the branches that are going to be displayed on the bill. So on basically on a bill, what the format is going to be there, related to that a policy guideline must be there. Next, I told you what. Yes. So next I told you what details have to be displayed, and what are the applicable GSTs there. Related to that also, the details must be shown on a bill. Okay, next aspect is your product guarantee or warranty. So proper details. If you open an e-commerce website, there they'll properly give you that, if you pay extra, you will get a 5-year warranty. If you don't pay extra, you'll not get this warranty, or you'll only have a 1-year warranty. So like that, they themselves will give you all the details. So like that, properly all the details must be displayed about the guarantee or warranty, whichever is there. And the documents should also be sent along with the product. So this warranty, if you need to get a warranty, you'll get this card or something, right? So those things must also be sent with the products itself properly. Next is that shipping. So here what they're telling is proper rules and guidelines related to the shipping time must be given. That, usually if Amazon is working, they will have a policy that the goods must be delivered within 1 week or delivered within 10 days maximum. So like that, you must also have a policy related to shipping time and the frequency of shipping. That is, in 1 day, how many orders are going to be shipped. Okay. Next is your delivery aspect. So the company needs to have a policy that which mode of delivery are they going to be allowing to the customers, whether they are going to deliver using the external people or their own staff itself. Now see, Domino's does delivery using its own staff, whereas Amazon has its delivery given to an outside person, correct? So they have to decide which mode of delivery they are going to give. When then all they are going to be delivery, they are going to make in their business. Amazon usually delivers all days a week and all times in a week. Then you have to decide where deliveries is to be made, like depending on whatever the information the customer is going to give, whether they are going to deliver it to the buyer's office or the buyer's home. Okay, so policies on these should be given properly. Then next is related to return. Also, the policies must be clear. What kinds of goods will be taken in return? That means usually milk or any other perishable items they'll not take as return, whereas clothes they will accept. So like this, which goods will be accepted, you have to show there. How many number of days within which you can start the return. Then how is the e-commerce vendor going to verify the authenticity is going, you have to decide. Suppose usually what happens is that in an offline store, if you if you're going to return your clothes, they'll see the tag which is there, and using that they will authenticate the product and take it in. Then at time when which the buyer will get the refund also, related to that the policy must be there. Usually Amazon refunds within 2 to 4 days. Okay. Next is related to payment. Also, the policies must be set clear. That is, what are the modes of payment? Here, usually many vendors does not allow cash on delivery, because usually there are seen cases where the users or the customers cheat and they do not pay in the cash on delivery aspect itself. So, what are the modes of payment that your e-commerce website or your e-commerce business is going to allow? If for which product specific payment mode will only be accepted. That means if there is suppose gold or silver here and all, you cannot do cash on delivery. Okay, so there you will only have to pay the whole amount online itself. So like this, these related to all these aspects, guidelines or policies must be framed. Billing, product guarantee or warranty, shipping, delivery, return and payment. Okay, yes. So I hope this topic is also clear to you. Next, we are going to study the laws that govern e-commerce, and this is very easy, you all know. So just like a normal business, all those acts will also be applicable here. Plus, here there'll be an extra act which relates the digital business in general. Okay, so first you will have your Income Tax Act levy. I mean, that will levy. I mean, that is going to be governing the e-commerce. Okay, then these are like usual Companies Act also, because it is a company, that if the company is made in India, then these laws will define how you are going to work in India. Then foreign trade, if there is any export or import happening using your website or your e-commerce business, for that you have your Foreign Trade Act. Then Factories Act will be there, because there might be people who will be working for the e-commerce. That is Amazon, you have an office, or Amazon factories might be there. So there, if there is any factory, then in such case, the working conditions of the workers, how it should be, to govern that, Factories Act is there. Example, they'll tell that the worker should not work more than 8 hours. If he is working for more than 8 hours, then overtime should be paid. Okay, next is Customs Act. If there is any import or export of goods and services from India, then how is the customs going to be applied on it, or what are the taxes, or how much percentage tax is going to be applied on it. Then GST Act is going to be applicable. Then your Contract Act is going to be applicable, because when you place an order and when someone accepts the order, that is like a contract between you two, where both are liable to make, where one is liable to make the payment and the other is liable to deliver the product. So a contract gets constituted there. So Indian Contract Act is also applicable. Then Competition Act is applicable, because as you know that what usually happens in the case of Jio, what happened? Jio in starting gave everything free and washed off many good players from the market, good telecom players in the market, and finally he has now raised all his prices. So the same way, like this adverse effect can happen on the industry. So to govern that, Competition Act is also there. Then FEMA Act, that is related to your foreign exchange, because Amazon, there is a website known as Alibaba. I'm not very sure. From Alibaba, we can also order. Indian customers can also order. Okay. So there you will, if you are going to pay by INR, that currency is going to basically get converted into their own reporting currency. And during this process, what happens is a foreign currency exchange has happened. So to govern that, Foreign Exchange Management Act is also there. Okay. I mean, the currency is different. And that is one thing. And for that also, you will have acts in place. And the same way, foreign direct investments, if somebody has to make, or the flow of foreign exchange in India. Okay, so that is different. Okay, so Alibaba is working in a different place. So there you don't have FEMA. In India, if there's something like that is happening, then here you will have this act which is going to be applicable. And finally, for the protection of users like us, you have Consumer Protection Act also. So these are basically the laws which govern the e-commerce. Then after this, there are two special laws that govern e-commerce after that. Special. Okay, those were general laws which are applicable on all business. Here the two special laws are, one is Information Technology Act 2000 and the next is Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Related to this Information Technology Act 2000, we are going to study in chapter number 5. So I'm not going to discuss here. Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. So here what happens is that I've already told you that RBI releases guidelines time to time. The same way, okay, frames guidelines time to time, which has to be followed by the e-commerce and in-commerce merchants. Okay. So example, what the guidelines Reserve Bank of India might release is that all the credit and debit cards, okay, should be chip based, so it is more secure. Then an OTP or PIN should be available, should be processed for all the transaction to ensure that that user is the one who is making the transactions. Okay, so like this, many guidelines or laws RBI has brought into place, and this especially governs the e-commerce business, because OTP or PIN in an offline business you will not get. It will only be done in an online business. Okay, yes. So these, and now we are moving on to our final topic. After this topic will maximum take us 5 more minutes, and after that we can end our class. Okay, yes. So I hope until this you don't have any doubts. Just a minute, guys. I think it's not only difficult for the students to attend a very early morning class, because it is like, you know, you all might be sleepy, and in that zone, it's also difficult for the person who is taking, because I'm also not used to taking so early in the morning. So I am not able to speak continuously. So someone has asked, ma'am, when you will upload this in YouTube? I missed some classes, please upload it. Yes, slowly I'll be uploading it. I just am not getting the time to, you know, edit those videos. Slowly I'll definitely upload all of them before your exams. Yes, a week before your exams at least. Okay, that's why I'm telling you, don't miss your offline. This means these live classes. Okay, fine. Final topic is forces behind e-commerce revolution. So you know, okay, so e-commerce has taken a very good pace, or a very good standing in the real world only in the very recent times. Okay, in the last 10 years or last 20 years, we can say it has taken a very good position in the market or in the economy. So what were the forces? Okay, who were the or who, not who, but what were generally the forces which created this revolution is what we are going to understand now. First are the in this new, there's no topic of this. Okay, just hold on for a minute, guys. I think this is a new book that I have downloaded. I'll just go to ICI website once and check again. Just give me a minute. I've downloaded the latest version only. Just give me 1 minute. I'll quickly check it right away. So study material and 2022 onwards. Which book are you using? Like when, what is the edition? Just check. It is there in the version of exams. Okay. So the study material is applicable from May 2022 only. Okay, fine. So for your exams, basically you don't have this topic, like the exam that you're going to give now, but it's fine, no? This video is going to stay on YouTube forever. So this is just a 5-minute topic. I'll take this topic, just 5 minutes. This is just an extra knowledge that you can gain from today's class and go. Maybe it is not applicable for the December 21 attempt. Okay. Yes. Okay. So mobile devices. So what happens is that mobile, mobile as it came after Jio only, as you all know that a lot of people started using mobile internet. Okay. So what happens is due to that particular growth, the user moving from a desktop to mobile, the growth of e-commerce was humongous, because what happened, the users found it very easy. When you're traveling on a train, you can book anything that you want. When you're just walking on the road, you can just book anything you want, or you can buy anything you want. So what happened, due to that easiness, or due to that ease in placing the orders and buying products, the e-commerce growth was very huge. Okay. Next is especially also because of the mobile apps. Okay. Next is the mobile telecommunication network and the internet. So as you all know, the mobile internet is very okay. So mobile internet, that's the last, just like the last point. So now here what might happen is that what happens usually is that since you have internet on the mobile phones itself, now even if you're going to a theater and if you see that there is a huge crowd or a huge queue which is there for taking the tickets. Earlier, what we used to do, we used to go stand in the queue and get the tickets and then go into the movie. Until that, the movie will almost get started, right? So now what has happened, if you see that there is such a huge queue, you'll directly take your phone, open your mobile, open your your ticket booking app of your nearest theaters, book a ticket and then go. That's it. It's that easy. So what happens, this has also been a push. Like factors like this also have been a push in the revolution that has happened in the e-commerce space. Next is social media, social network, social media. So here what has happened is, now as you all know, right now social media marketing or social media sale has taken a very, very huge, has taken our country by a huge wave. So here what happens, your social medias include your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, your Snapchat, all of them. So what has happened is, now let's take the example of Instagram, because we have a lot of crowd there only right now. So what happens is that in that Instagram app itself, what happens is you can place orders directly. If there is an Instagram store, you can just see that and just place an order directly. Correct. The same way, if there is any e-commerce website, e-commerce means don't just relate to Amazon and Flipkart. E-commerce is anything but what you say, any trade or any commerce which is done electronically, basically. So if you have an Instagram store, that also somewhere comes under the prospects or aspect of e-commerce only. Correct. So you don't even need to leave your social media network to you might be chatting to someone at the same time, in the same app itself you can place order. So it has become that easier right now. Okay, so that also has given a e-commerce platform a good revolution. Next is biometrics. So here what happens is that the security of any buyer has increased right now, okay, which is going to offer a lot of comfort to any buyer if he wants to go and give his personal data out there in the e-commerce space or the online space also. So here what has happened is, right now you have got your fingerprints, face recognition, voice recognition, palm recognitions. So all of these, what happens is that if there is any if you have any, suppose forgot the password in any case, then these aspects, physical characteristics like this or biometrics like this is going to help you in getting through this problem. But earlier what used to happen, if you have given forgot password, if there is any hacker who has given forgot password, then what will happen is you have to, they will directly be able to hack it, because everything used to happen, nothing used to be like anything physical that you can only allocate to yourself. If you forget a password, you can tell it to someone and they can also log in. Now, since you have like fingerprints and these, the security to a large amount has increased. Finally, is your you have two more. Okay, artificial intelligence. What they tell you is that, since now we have artificial intelligence, that according to what product you like. In the chapter 4 only, I think here only I told you that Netflix gives you your specialized recommendation. So Netflix is also e-commerce site only. So here because they sell basically shows and movies. Okay, so here what might happen is, let alone Netflix, you can go to your Amazon also. These also, when once you start buying frequently from there, they will give you personalized recommendations, so that will enhance your user experience basically. Okay, so due to this, all is possible only because of artificial intelligence. So this artificial intelligence has also played a major role in developing the e-commerce space. Next is predictive analysis. So this basically, the predictive analysis tools which are there, what these tools usually do is that they analyze the customer behavior, what customer are buying, what are their buying habits, when do they buy, what are their tastes, what are their preferences, both quantitatively as well as qualitatively. So all of these, what happens is, what happens is that they usually using these tools, they are able to predict this. So this tool also has played an important role in developing the e-commerce space. And finally, the IT laws which are there, information technology laws, all these laws are also being very supportive in developing the e-commerce space and are putting less legal pressure on these e-commerce websites. Okay, so these are all the reasons why an e-commerce space has developed today. First is the mobile devices, then it is your internet and mobile that came together, then your social media network, your biometrics, your artificial intelligence, predictive analysis, and finally the support of IT governing laws. Okay, so these were all the points that you have, or these were all the things these were all the forces that were behind the e-commerce revolution. Also, okay, just 5 more minutes and just take one more final topic which I had left in the last class, and then we can wind up with the session. Yes, this is a very, very simple topic. Okay, so this is nothing but your e-commerce business models. Okay, so here what happens is that e-commerce business models are nothing but example. If you take this example, you will be able to understand better. Now, if you see Flipkart, okay. So Flipkart means what? Flipkart is a site where the user or where the customers come in, they want to purchase some product. Suppose they want to purchase a shoe, and the vendor who is there in the e-commerce website is going to sell it to me. So here what happens? The business is selling it to a customer. So business to customer is what happens in B2C, is what happens in Flipkart, business to customer. If you take OLX, so what I might do is that if I have old worn out shoes and I don't use it anymore, I just want to sell it to someone at a very low, okay, a very little amount, okay, or a very little price, then I can go on to OLX and I can sell it. What will happen is another customer who is looking for such shoes will go and buy it at that price. So here what happens, two customers are interacting. One customer who doesn't want the shoe, another customer, or one customer who wants to sell the shoe, and the other customer who wants to buy the shoe. So two customers meet here and they are not basically businesses, and they sell their products there. So C2C, that is customer to customer. So OLX is a C2C business. Then you have India Mart. So India Mart is a website where what happens is that only bulk purchases are taken. And who does bulk purchases here? Only business does bulk purchases here. So if India Mart is selling, suppose 1,000 masks to another business who is going to later sell on to its customers. So here what happens, one business is selling product to another business. So it is business to business, which is your B2B. So these are nothing but your different kinds of business models. It can be a B2C model or a C2C model or a B2B model. And depending on your comfort, okay, later in future, if you ever want to develop a business, depending on your comfort or your areas, you can develop a business model like this. Okay, so business model is nothing but a mechanism by which a business intends to generate revenue and profit. OLX wants to generate profit by bringing two customers together, whereas Amazon wants to make profit and revenue by bringing a buyer who is a vendor or a business and a normal customer together. So a business model can be any way. It is just a mechanism by which the business is intending to generate revenue and profit. Okay, an e-business model is an adaptation of organization's business model to internet economy. So it is nothing. Usually these and all used to happen in the offline store. You will have these wholesale stores where the business people used to go and buy for their businesses. So earlier that was a B2B model. Now you have indiamart.com. So you have a website right now. So it is nothing but e-business model means offline whatever was there that you have brought it into the online space. So that is your e-business model. Okay. So business model enables a firm to analyze its environment more effectively. That means if you know which business model you come under, you will be able to analyze more efficiently what competitors you have, who are your competitors, who are your actual customers, where your advertising should be targeted to, what are your potential market, how you can exploit it the best. Okay, so all of these things you'll be able to better understand and analyze if you know which business model your business is coming under. Okay, so e-business models utilize the benefits of electronic communication to it. Okay, so basically these models with the help of internet are using the space betterly. Okay, so now we are going to see the different kinds of business models. Okay, the different kinds of business models. Okay, so first you have here, I have already told you what is B2C. What is B2C? When a business is selling to a customer, example, your Amazon, your Flipkart, then that is the B2C. Okay. So here what usually happens is the commerce which is there. It is between the company, suppliers and partners. Okay. So here, sorry, wait. 1 minute. So we'll go with this example itself. I think here the order has been changed a little bit. Okay. Yes. So first what happens, let's now take the example of Apple. How many of you are iPhone users here? Any iPhone users here? How many of you use iPhone? Yes. So, okay. So iPhone, iPhone's major, components are manufactured by Foxconn only. Okay. So what happens is Foxconn manufactures and provides the components asked by the Apple company for their iPhone. So what happens is here Foxconn is a business and Apple is also a business, and these both are doing some commerce. Okay, right? So here this will be known as your B2B commerce. Here what happens is that the company, the supplier and the partners, all of these come together and do the commerce or do the business. Now Apple is going to sell its iPhone to its customer, correct? So when it's selling its iPhone to the customer, it is a B2C business. That is, a business is selling to its customer. Okay. So here what happens is this in a online space, the online retailer will sell through internet. Okay, the online, that is, Apple might have a website and through that website it will sell to its customer. Okay. So here what might happen is that there might be a direct seller, that is from apple.com itself you can purchase the Apple phones, or it might be online intermediary there. That means from Amazon website you can buy an iPhone. Okay, so here the intermediary is the Amazon. Next, there is one more kind of selling pattern which is known as your community built around shared interest. Community built around shared interest. First you saw direct seller, that is directly the Apple is selling. Next you saw the online intermediary that the Amazon is selling here. And then you have online community built around shared interest. Means here what happens is that you will have a online space where you can just pay premium charges to be a member of it, and there people with similar interests will come together and share their knowledge. Example, there is one site which is known as cookingmaster.com. So here what happens is that you have a few subscription charge. If you subscribe to that plan or subscribe to that particular website, you all the people who have interest in cooking, they'll come together and share recipes every day there. Okay. So this is one of the ways by which the B2C can happen here. Here Cooking Master is a business and the customers who are subscribing are the C. So B2C. Okay. Next, you have C2C. C2C, I already told you, if the customer does not want the iPhone anymore and he wants to buy a newer model of it, the older version, he can sell it to customer 2 using OLX.com. Correct. So here the main customer is selling directly the product to another customer through an agent. The agent is the OLX.com website. Okay. So this is there. Then next what can happen is another business model what you have is C2. So now I was talking about C2B. C2B means where a customer it is like customer to business. So here what basically happens is that if there's a customer too, and what happens is if he wants to take suppose an insurance. So usually what happens in today's world is that the customer can decide what price of a premium he wants to pay, and what will happen is, or what insurance policy he wants, and at what price he is ready to pay as a premium. If the customer decides, the different insurance service providers will come and contact the customers, and they will give in their quotation and try to fill in the customer orders. They'll try to fill in the customer orders. Okay. So in example, we can take this also, that government calls up for tenders, right, to complete some project. So here government is the customer, but the business is coming to them to provide their quotations and sell the product to them. So this is a customer to business model. So this is a customer to business model. So until now we have seen business to customer, business to business, customer to consumer, or you can say consumer to consumer. Okay, I don't know if I've already told this, but do you guys know what is the difference between a customer and a consumer? I've already told this, I think, in my previous class, maybe in chapter 2, I might have told you. You tell me this by the end of this thing, I'll tell you. Okay, you guys, I have already told, right? Okay, fine. Consumer to consumer, then you have consumer to business, and then you have two more business models, which is consumer to government and government to consumer. So here what happens is, if you take consumer to government, so what happens is we go to an income tax website, okay, and we do transactions there. So income tax, this incometaxindia.gov.in is a government website. So consumers go to that website to perform a few transactions. So here it is consumer to government. When is it government to consumer? What happens is usually consumers, they can if suppose there is a vehicle and you don't know who is the owner of that vehicle, you can go and if see this. So you can request the information. The consumer can go to the government and request information, like you want to know who is the owner of the vehicle, or who is the owner of this land, or where this land is there. So like that, a lot of services government is also providing to us. So government will charge a nominal fee to us and provide us that information and provide us that information. So this is nothing but the government is providing value to us. So it is government to consumer. So it is government to consumer. So these are the different business models which are there in today's world. And I hope this topic was also clear to you. And with this, we have come towards the end of today's class.
So I hope you found this video helpful. In case if you did, please make sure to like, share this video, and also subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave your feedback down in the comment section below. And also for the next part and other chapters, kindly look into the I button or the description box, and you will find all the links there. Thank you so much for watching.